And today we have Howard from Salcombe Distilling Company. Did I get it right?
Perfect.
I was really nervous then. I don't know if you could tell. But clap him in. Come on, everyone. We like to clap people in. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. I've been really excited to meet you. Because I love a gin, but I'm more into rum, probably, is my favourite. And I've seen bits about how you guys do your experience and all the rest of it. And then I see your products, like, everywhere. Like, every bar I go in. There's quite a few of them.
Good.
I like to support local bars. But yeah, your products are like everywhere. So I moved, for me personally, I moved to the Southwest like just recently. My business has been here about 8 years, right? So I've been always frequenting many venues and establishments. But it's a brand I've always known. So well excited to learn a bit about it. So yeah, I think probably best thing to do is hand it over to you and tell us a little bit about the company. And then maybe a little bit of the history of how it started. It'd be quite good.
Yeah, certainly. Okay.
You've probably never been asked that, right? Ever.
Once or twice, but that's a good. I will start. I'll start with how we started.
Yeah,
that's probably good because then that sort of leads itself quite nicely on. So, back in the day, as a child from the age of about 5 years old, where we went on holiday every year was Salcombe. So we're originally from Hampshire. But we used to go to Salcombe every single year on holiday. And for 2 weeks, and I adored the place. I'd look forward to it. As a child, I was there playing on South Sands Beach, going around the rock pools, finding crabs. I used to sail at that age, so I'd sail around the estuary in my little boat, a little boat called an Optimist. And just loved it. I used to, the night before going on holiday, I'd be lying awake at night. I couldn't sleep. I was so excited to come to Salcombe, so I loved it. And
it is beautiful.
It's just stunning.
It's just beautiful, yeah. So I get it. I understand. But as a child, even it would have been. I used to holiday down in Devon, and it's just you get so excited, crazy, really. But it just had everything, I guess.
There is a magic to the place. Yeah. I mean, it's stunningly beautiful for kids. It's got things like we could talk for ages now about how it's organised as a child, but little things like quite a few of the beaches have a little stream running down the beach.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you're there damming the streams, and
so you were outdoorsy then? You liked being outside and playing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, always. Me too, always. I love that. So that was from about the age of 5 every year. And then in Salcombe, there was a sailing school in Salcombe. It was called the Island Cruising Club. And it was based on a disused ferry that was moored in the estuary. As a kid, I did a couple of sailing courses there. Yeah. And as I got a bit older, I trained as a sailing instructor. Oh, nice. So I started teaching there. So in the holidays, I would teach sailing at the Island Cruising Club. And that was where I met Angus. Actually, he's now my business partner. And Angus had a sort of similar background in that he went on holiday to Salcombe every year as a child, loved the place. Anyways, then we were teaching together at the Island Cruising Club. And at the end of each day, it was quite a nice social pastime, teaching sailing. We'd go for a few drinks in town.
Of course.
And normally the yacht club. And I kid you not, the first drink of the evening was a gin and tonic.
Always.
Yeah. And that was probably my first time I'd ever drank gin. And loved it, and it was just a really special time. And so that kind of, I think, sort of planted the seed of, gin, Salcombe. Anyway, Angus and I went off at uni, did our own separate careers for a number of years, stayed in touch. And there came a point some years later where we both had just had this desire to start a small business. We both sort of came to the same point in our lives at a similar time. We were just talking about it. And Gus had been out in the United States for a while, and there even sort of, and around the same time it was happening in England, this craft artisan distillation movement started taking off, and Gus is really into it, and we got talking, and we're like, well, actually, Salcombe and gin, surely that is a great combination, because all that Salcombe stands for, fantastic location. How about we start a distillery in Salcombe? And that's a great idea. I can literally remember the barbecue at Gus's house, just down the road from Salcombe, when we were talking about this. That was back in 2014. Okay, look, let's just do it. Let's do it. So then we set about learning
Yeah, 'cause
to have
it's a
it. So
lot.
we hadn't worked in this. I mean, Gus had done a little whiskey course at Springbank Whiskey Distillery in Scotland. We then both went and worked in Clomond Distillery on the island of Islay up in Scotland as well to get some experience there. Got a bit of guidance.
So did you do this after you decided, yes, we're going to do this? So you went and got a job working, or was this like, what was the timeline of
Yeah,
you
this
doing
was pretty
it?
much after. We pretty much decided we were going to do it. And then we're like, right, now we need to learn.
So you went and got a job working somewhere?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we didn't get paid.
No, you just did like...
That was working.
But that's actually a genius thing to do, because a lot of people are quite arrogant and think they'll pick stuff up, but I don't think you can as quick as like the knowledge that someone has or the way that people do things. There's a reason, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong and you can twist it, you learn, you skip a lot of falling over.
Yeah, so true.
Probably
So
cutting
true.
out a lot of the trial and error in the beginning. And,
Wow,
and
probably still had a lot of that. But
Yeah, it was. I think it definitely helped some pitfalls
Yeah.
and gave us some. You know, we learned a lot. We got some good advice, but then we did then start, if you like, a process of iteration. So we bought a miniature still, all right, this size. The same as the ones that are at our gin school right now, actually. And I'm going to shift to this side because that tree keeps poking me in the ear.
move. Can you move it? Just try and bend it. Come on, I'll give you a little flick. It's bothering me as well. Oh, you're going to knock everything over, mate. I keep feeling like it's making me itch. We'll take a little second. There's no rush. Because last thing you want to be doing is talking about something while you're getting pricked in the back. I blame Wes. It's Wes's fault.
Nice.
Is that going to be all right?
It's fine. Yeah, that's
good.
fine. That's easy. Yeah.
Sorry. So where were we?
Where were we?
So you went and did.
Yes, we bought a
started
miniature.
with us. Yeah.
Yes, we bought a miniature copper pot still, the same as the ones that are at our gin school right now. And we just started iterating. And when we had an idea of the type of flavour profile we wanted, a slightly citrus-led gin, but it had a sort of full complex flavour. So it needed some citrus, it needed some floral, it needed some spice notes, some herb, some earthiness. So we set about trying to select botanicals that we really liked, and we just started to iterate on this still. Okay, that took about 18 months, and that was literally us going to this each day, using this little still, developing 3, 4, 5 different gin recipes, doing a blind tasting between us, deciding what we liked, what we didn't like, and then coming in and iterating again the next day. And then every so often, we drank a lot of gin.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds like a lot of gin.
Yeah, we did. And then every so often, we'd have a miniature event, either with friends or family, or sometimes even people we didn't know so well, where we'd be sort of, okay, here's our short list of what we think are our top 3, 4, 5 gins we've made so far. Blind taste them, get some feedback from people.
Yeah.
Take that feedback, get back in, iterate further based on that. So this was going on. And then in parallel with this, we were raising some investment. We needed some seed capital to start the business. So we're busy sort of going out there, pitching to people. You know, we had our deck and doing webinars, or going up to London or down in Salcombe, speaking to people to try to get some seed investors to help us start the business. And then thirdly, we needed a location for the distillery proper. What was really important to us was that the distillery was actually in Salcombe.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, you'll just trade off a name and it's got nothing to do with the place, you're not there. But we really wanted that sort of integrity and legitimacy in what we were doing. But at the same time, there's not a great deal of commercial property available in Salcombe. So it was challenging.
Probably not,
and then we heard that and the Island Cruising Club that I mentioned earlier on, the sailing school, they had a land-based building where they used to do boat maintenance.
Right,
on the street. And the Island Cruising Club at this point it had its heyday. It was sort of disappearing really. It was fantastic, but times kind of moved on. And this building had been bought and was going to be redeveloped.
Yeah.
And they'd already done the designs for it, and the planning application was in with the council. So we heard about this. There was already early architects' drawings on the council planning website. So we went to the council planning website, downloaded these drawings, went on the internet, got a picture of a nice big copper still, photoshopped that into the architect's diagrams.
Bit of copy and pasting going on.
Yeah, exactly, bit of that. Got in touch with the owner who was developing the site. Ended up going around his house, if I recall correctly, with like a 5-page presentation, which is basically
You were keen.
and pictures. So this is what we want to do with your building. What do you think?
So do you mind if you take a little slight step back? So
Yeah.
what is you're going around, you're pitching, you're looking into these things. What's your background then in between university and starting this company? What happened in between? Because this is not normal. Like, not everyone would turn a hand to doing this stuff, right? And making it work. So there must have been some history there. What did you do before?
You know what? It's not even that related.
Is it not?
So Gus had been working in sales. Gus is great,
Yeah.
great sales guy and real vision as well. But he'd been working in sales related to marine technology. I don't quite understand the detail, to be honest. And I had done various things. I mean, after university, I worked for a management consultancy firm in London for a while, which I sort of worked in a few different types of businesses there. Then I worked in technology for a while. And then I did a little bit of work in the sort of marine tech as well as at one point having just, I'll give my laughs, at one point just decided to jack in my entire career halfway through, and I went to Australia and spent couple of years teaching sailing and windsurfing. Again, I'm just bored of all this office, corporate stuff. I just want to go and do that. So I worked in Australia.
But I think there's quite a lot in the management, all of that side of things, and working in different businesses. You'd have seen a lot of businesses and how they built and issues and structure. There's lessons in all of that, I think, is the key.
And sales is so important within any business.
Yeah,
as well.
so much.
Like if you don't have a sales team, don't have a business.
100% is super important, and Gus is a real natural.
So you're going around with your pitch deck then, and you're like,
your
5 slides.
Exactly, it's had that. So I mean, the pitch deck was a little bit longer.
Yeah,
but I'd not done that before. I'd not pitched.
It's really hard. I've not actually done it myself. I've funded myself and whatever, but I know that I'm looking at it in different aspects. And sometimes when I've gone to look at it, I'm almost like, it's a full-time job. You'd be better doing it probably before you kick on with something, because it's going to take a lot of your time.
Yeah. The challenge as well, though, is that the more tangible your proposition is. So, for instance, to have a pitch whereby we had no idea what the location was going to be, it's just a concept, there's no liquid yet, that's hard. So the more of these pieces you can start having some solidity to.
Even if it's a contact or an opportunity to go into wherever, even if there's nothing signed, you're just like, I've got, this is doable.
This is it. And we managed to sort of, with the landlord for the site we've been developing into the distillery, whilst we couldn't sign on the dotted line for a lease yet because we didn't have any money. We hadn't started the business. We had sort of a tentative agreement with them that, okay, you've kind of got until day X to secure investment. And if you can do it with it, then it's yours, which meant that included in our pitch deck, we could include some diagrams and show this is what it's going to look like. This is where it's going to be.
Yeah.
Really important. But yeah, I'd not done it before. But part of the beauty of one of the things I loved about starting a business, and even now in a small business, is you learn. Yeah, you've got to turn your hand to everything. You've got to turn your hand to raising investment finance, to marketing, to sales, to operations, to basic logistics and every single thing.
We have a cleaner now, but
okay.
Definitely originally, yeah.
So,
but you're right.
You learn so much, and so much more than you learn in a large organisation as a small thing. So I found that, and I still do. I find that.
I think you have to have a thirst for that as well. If you go into business and you don't want to learn anything, you're not going to be around very long. You're probably not going to go very far. Yeah. And having business partners who, because that's another dynamic as well, right? So you're old friends, and then you've gone into business together. That's tricky, and it can either be beautiful or it can be and it can even be beautiful and hard at the same time, right? Yeah. How have you found that? Obviously, you convinced this owner of this building, right, to work with you and give you the opportunity. But talk to us a little bit about like how you found that journey with this. You're now pitching with your friends, and you're going around, and it's going to be hard, and you're grafting, you're going everywhere, and it's the first time you'd have ever done that. What did you find it like?
Well, firstly, I think what's really important in a partnership is that you have complementary skills.
Definitely,
you don't want to be identically the same person. It's important to be different, but then you've just got to understand it in the ways that you're different. So firstly, it was a real strength that we had sort of different ways of coming at things and different skill sets. And then secondly, actually, it's really nice having a partner because it's pretty scary.
It is, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're starting out, you know, you've got this concept, people are willing to invest in you. It's pretty scary. And so actually having someone to share that, burden's not quite the right word, maybe it is, but to talk it through, that mutual support, actually that's hugely valuable. Love that.
Just even if they don't, sometimes you're just talking out loud and you just, but then from that you'll get the nods and the ums and whatever will tell you what you need to know. Do you know what I mean? Because you're kind of already there anyway. They don't have to say, right, you need to go and do this.
Yeah.
But having that sounding board to talk out loud, because sometimes I think people don't realise, but it's all you think about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of what you think about.
It is.
So if you don't have, and you can only so much have that conversation with a partner or a mate down a pub or where it becomes like, okay, this is like, I don't want to hear any more about this, or it's probably too much, and they won't know all the context. So having that business partner to be able to like sound off on and talk to is very nice in the beginning, especially at any stage, but in the beginning.
Yeah, it's also the only other person that knows exactly what you're going through.
Yeah, true. Actually, yeah.
Because everybody, like your partner and your family and everybody else, they have compassion, they understand.
They don't know the details.
But they don't know, and you can't tell your staff everything you're going through either, because you want to protect them from some of the really tough stuff that might be going on.
Yeah.
So it can be quite lonely if you're the only person there, but if you've got someone with you, you both support each other through that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it has been. So yeah, it was good from that, and yeah, you know, you're going to disagree at times, but what I think I say worked hard, it sounds wrong. What I think we do quite well is we're pretty objective. Like, you know, we don't have, it's not that we argue. It's like, you know, we'll express an opinion, why we think that, discuss it through, come to a conclusion that we're both happy with, you know, and you almost develop almost a language within yourself. There's certain, I've never spoken about this before really, but there's certain words that Angus and I will use when we talk to each other that are sort of these cues to let, well, he will know if I feel really strongly about something and vice versa. And I don't know, it just really helps us sort of navigating that. And so I think it's really important. It's been really valuable.
Yeah, I think it's good to have that sounding board and talk to someone. You know, you won't agree all the time. It can get really frustrating as well. But there's the frustration is usually because you both want to go in a certain direction. And so okay, so we're back where we've got this date that we can have this building, but we haven't got money to pay for it yet. But we've got a nice building where we've photoshopped a copper thing in. But what happened next then?
Okay, so then a few things just kind of came together basically. So so pretty much around the same time, we basically had secured enough investment as we needed to start the business.
Yeah.
And then at the same time as well, Angus and I were still busy, you know, iterating on this gin, because when do you stop, right? When's a gin perfect?
Depends how many you've had, I guess.
You know, maybe that's, we could have gone on for years, forever. And actually, then we'd have started getting some feedback, like, guys, this is really good. Like, and then in particular, there was a particular industry expert who came and visited us. He said, what are you waiting for? You know,
Just get
this
it
is
out.
fantastic. You should be starting production. You know, just crack on. And so it's like, great. Okay, the liquid's ready. We've got the finance ready. We've got the building ready. Let's start. And so that was June 2016. We started.
Right. So you said 10 years.
Yeah, it's about 10 years this year now.
Yeah, you'll be 10 years this year now.
Yeah, it's pretty
Congratulations
cool.
when that happens. That's a landmark, that is.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
a hard
It's
one
cool.
to achieve.
It's good.
Yeah. And so did you have a logo and everything designed by then or not? Or bottles designed? Because that's really hard to do as well, isn't it? And did you agree on it? Because this is the other thing. I've had the same issue before with, I've got less precious about logos because it's not going on a bottle that I'm going to see everywhere, but I bet one that's a label that's going to be out there in a bottle which you're hopefully really proud of, right? You're going to be not always have the same taste. So how did that go?
So thankfully we've been pretty aligned on design. But what's funny in terms of the logo design, so even when we were doing the investment round, even sort of from a year prior to launching, at least, we wanted even some kind of logo from the investment. We didn't have any money at this point in time. Yeah. So, I literally found like some online logo designer. I think we paid them. It was a human behind it. It wasn't like AI didn't exist in those days, right? I think we paid them £75 to to modify. We sort of gave them an idea of sort of the logo we wanted. They kind of put something together. And I remember then in like Microsoft Paint or something like that, literally doing these minute little adjustments to it myself. So we had this initial logo that, by the way, we don't use anymore at all. Although there will be a time when we have the Salcombe Gin Museum that, you know, is going to be there as part of the story.
You'll do a throwback or something where you'll have a different bottle. It's like,
you know, we thought about that. That would be so cool, actually, because I still quite like that original logo. Anyway,
you would have loved it at the time, right?
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then at the point then when we'd secured investment, then we then hired a professional brand design company, and they did the label design with us, and then the associated logo that went with it. So yeah, we then had a professional doing it, but
a bit more than £75 for that. So
yeah, it was. Yeah, and
did they specialise in label design?
They're more generic, actually.
More branding,
more generic brand design, but they certainly had actually they had experience in all kinds of. They had good experience in luxury goods. You know, and
that's
whilst
good.
we were a drinks brand, and they had experience in drinks, we placed sort of equal weight on the importance of sort of the. I don't really like the word in some ways, but sort of the luxury, super to ultra premium positioning of the brand, and they had some really good experience on that across a number of types of products. So we felt they were a really good fit, and they did a great job.
So talk to me more a bit about that then. So when you say, you know, because building brands is an interesting thing to do, and I think to become a premium brand in a space takes a lot of discipline. Right, because you'd have had like opportunities that would have come along where we need to buy at this or sell at this, and so how do you manage that as a brand? Like, how do you decide at the beginning what you want? Did you have that discussion at the start, or was that very much it's like in your deck will be a premium luxury brand, artisan distillery? I don't know, I'm butchering it probably, but you know, how have you stayed true to maybe that like original vision?
Yeah, good question. So from day one, it was the vision. Was to become the world's #1 luxury gin. Now we say the world's #1 luxury coastal spirits brand, because we have a couple of other brands as well. But from day one, that was intention. And actually, one of the things we did, which I think has provided, if you like, some guide rails from day one. We set sort of 3 core values to the business. Literally, this was before we'd had the investment or anything like that. And they were passion for what we do, passionate about everything we do. The other one was uncompromising attention to detail. In other words, quality.
Yeah.
You can't just decide something's going to be premium or I want it to be premium. It's the quality of the product defines whether you're how premium or ultra premium you are, and then then you set your pricing around to match that, and you set your production process and your branding all around that. So key core value was uncompromising attention to detail, quality, gotta be spot on. And then the third one was integrity. Integrity, and that again ties in a bit with some of the earlier thing I was talking about around the base.
They're great core values. So
those were the 3 ones.
They're big ones. They are like passion, attention to detail, and integrity. To me, that's also great business ethics when you're building a product, because it means that you're probably going to deliver quality. You're not going to skimp on things, and you're going to do it honestly, which I think people will respect that, and people are prepared to pay for that. We're of an age where there's a lot of that's being abused quite a lot, where you're buying something and paying over the odds potentially, and they are not about those values. They're more about a quick buck. I think a lot of people get away with it as well. As sad as it is, they do, don't they? And you probably see it in your space as well, right?
We do. Yeah, and it's tricky actually, but we have any thoughts on, I will never, I will never denigrate or say something negative about another brand or competitor. But at the same time, it can be frustrating sometimes because you know that people are cutting corners, or there's things that they're not really quite doing that they say they're doing, things like that. But you do see it out there. Yeah, you do.
I mean, even in the massive brands that you see on the shelves, I mean, there's a lot of dishonesty in the drinks market in particular as well, because like breweries, a lot of the big brands for like lagers and stuff, I mean, they're speeding up a lot of the processes. They're adding a lot of chemicals to make it faster. And they'll be classed as a premium lager, and it's like, realistic, and then also the brands buying each other out, and then you think you're still drinking a brand like Neck Oil, where they're owned by, I want to say Foster's or someone like that. I can't remember now, but they're like in everywhere, right? No, Heineken, I think they're in everywhere, and everyone thinks still that they're this brewery that popped up, and they're really not.
Yeah.
And then it's like even the recipes changed in the way it's made, so it's like that went out the window when they got bought. They were just another brand in a portfolio, and I guess that happens a lot, right?
So inherently, as you grow and scale, there always is going to be temptation. Is not even quite the right word. Pressure to compromise or tweak how you do things, and we've worked really hard to make sure that's not the case for ourselves. And to this day, all of our gin is made at the distillery by the water in Salcombe at that site, and as we grow, it will still be made in Devon, I'm pretty sure. At the moment, it's all in Salcombe, but there's just no way we're going to do something that compromises on the quality. And it's an important part of our provenance that we are a Devon brand.
You've got to be realistic to where you can produce it, at the size you want to produce at. But you obviously don't want to be shipping it off to Romania. Not that there's anything wrong with Romania, but one of these other countries where you're saving money.
Yeah.
To make a quick buck. Do you know what I mean? Again, it's back to that integrity, right, and quality.
It is.
So in terms of producers, like how do you see now this artisan market's kind of had its rise a little bit, and I feel like has tailored off a little bit, but you've weathered those storms 10 years on, and you seem to be stocked everywhere that I go. So you're doing something right. What's been the main driving force is it just the product, or how have you achieved that? Because it's very hard to do.
God, man, that's a long.
It's a big question.
Answer. So let's try and cover a couple of key things. So you're right. The market is harder. There was a massive boom, sort of between 2016 and even up into COVID. Which was great. We surfed that wave, and then after COVID, it's been hard actually for the entire industry. For all spirits and in fact drinks in general, and hospitality. Oh, it's tough for hospitality. It really is. So how have we done it? A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
There's
no magic secret sauce here.
I think having a really clear vision and view of what your product is, what you're about, how you're positioned, how you're differentiated from others in the market, really important. We've always been very clear on that and really tried to leverage the quality of the product well and our coastal positioning. And make sure that really comes through. Great people. It sounds like such a cliche. I
think people is really important.
Honestly, if you met my team,
about running a business, all those cliche things that you need to get really right, work really hard, really good people around you. Those are
clear vision.
It's cliche for a reason. And it's like without that, you won't be able to run a really good organisation. Really.
You'll meet some of the guys. They're great.
Yeah,
the team's fantastic, and very good.
Are they all local? Are they all local then as well? If you found all people have moved, if you had to hire people and relocate them to, what's the talent pools there? I guess to work with, because it's quite hard to find good talent really, and then you've got you've sort of shrinking it down to another micro economy of job of personnel, and it's but you found it
local.
That's amazing. Local, that's amazing, because I think it is tricky, and the temptation is to put an office somewhere else and all of that. Do you know what I mean? And be like, well, we'll get a load of people and we'll hire them and put them in this building and they'll ring. I don't think it works the same because so in terms of your strategy, without giving away too much, have you had who comes up with that in terms of where you're going to be and where you want to be positioned in the stockists and things like that? Is that just people going out with passion and just selling it in, and the brand sort of starting to just gain that traction naturally, or what was you sat around a table, we've got a great product, fantastic, we're all happy with it, like the bottle, like the brand, we've got the building, how do we now get it to market?
So how we started that initially, the focus was win your local area. It's where people are going to have more desire and loyalty, because everyone likes to support a local brand. I always do. If I
Yeah.
go somewhere, I'll try and buy local always. And also, frankly, it's the most cost-effective place to start. So we started off in our local geography, which is up a website for our direct-to-consumer sales, and Angus was busy going out, banging on doors, of pubs, restaurants, hotels in the local area. So we started, Salcombe, then South Hams and Devon, and then Devon more broadly, and then you just start to expand it outwards. And now we have, a couple of sales managers with us as well. One based in Cornwall, and another who sort of covers sort of South and Central England. Plus, we have an agency we work with to help with our sales in London as well. And so you just start local, spread it out, and there comes a point where we have to start building out the team to enable you to cover that wider area. And then we also try to cover more sort of national or bigger kind of chain accounts, if you like, as well. So we have a national listing with John Lewis. That's fantastic. Suddenly then you've got national coverage straight off. We've done a lot of work. We've come sort of now much more recently. We've had some
perfect
fantastic
stockish John Lewis for you.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's
really
perfect.
is, yeah.
It really is. It's so good.
Was there a particular milestone in that journey where you think that triggered the growth, or was it just a continuous improvement and growth on where you were, or was there a moment where you thought this is going to really change our business?
God,
You forget so easily.
Yeah,
don't
you do,
And the things that you would have hoped for and dreamed for when you wrote that deck,
Yeah.
you've probably achieved them now. And it's really...
we're sort of beyond that one now. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's been lots of little things. There's things we do where we'll maybe do something with intent to open up another market. So let's give you an example. Coming back, last year. So we have as well as our full-size bottles, we have little miniature 5cl bottles of our gin, and they were always glass. That was always the way. But now focus on sustainability, and also it's now a lot more easier and accessible to start producing containers, bottles in other materials. And so last year we transitioned. We've still got a few of the old glass ones left, but they'll soon be gone. We've transitioned to aluminium miniatures, okay? And they're fully recycled aluminium miniatures. I'm going to get my stats slightly wrong here, okay? But it's something like, 10% of the sort of carbon footprint or something like that you have from glass. It's pretty impressive. And so that is really nice because it for us, it ticks a really good box in terms of sustainability. But then also part of the reason we did it is it's a strategic move because some potential clients, and hopefully we'll win one of these things. We're doing quite a lot in travel retail as it is, but then another fantastic area would be airlines.
Yeah, of course. Okay? Yeah.
Now airlines are very, very weight sensitive, hopefully for obvious reasons. Okay, aluminium bottles weigh a fraction of the glass bottles. Okay, so it suddenly opens up this opportunity to us, and we only launched this at the end of last year. So we hope that this will then open the door to another type of client for us in market area.
It'd be cool to get on a flight and have your gin on there, right?
Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, if we have had a little bit. We've had a little bit of stocking before on one airline, even with the glass bottles prior to this. And we're doing a lot in travel retail as well. And again, in sort of terms of focus things.
And you can like in the duty free as well.
Exactly, the duty free shops. That's what I mean. So
it's still owned by that business. That market's still owned by like a couple of players, right? In terms of stockists and those. In those retailers in the airports, it's not like I can't remember. Like in terms of, I know like electronics is just owned by like one or two companies, and
there's a few. I mean, I won't name them, but there's one in particular that owns the majority of the airports in the UK. The majority of the duty free stores in the UK airports. So
their margin expectation is massive, though, right?
It's tough. It is tough, and there's some
crazy margins that they want for you to be in there. But
the margins are hard. At the same time, you kind of got to balance that against the fantastic sort of profile and exposure it gives you with that visibility.
They do a good job as well, right? They're prominent in there, and there's activation they offer.
The activations are good. The teams are great. We go in and we train the teams there, and if and again, I think something we do hopefully quite well is we try to support our customers quite a lot, and by I mean our sort of trade customers, our retailers as well as the bars, and so we'll go and try and support the team and train the team, and where we can, sometimes we'll even get the team to come to our distillery in Salcombe.
Wow, yeah.
And they'll come and do a gin school experience with us and like that.
Yeah.
Well, if they're coming on a gin school with experience with us, they're going to have an amazing time, and then they're really bought into what we're about as well.
They're always going to offer your products
exactly
because they know about it.
That sort of stuff's really helpful. So we've worked really hard on that, and that's been really successful for us. So that's been That's been great. And then maybe one of the other sort of big areas, which was quite a nice area of development for the business, was we had an opportunity a few years ago with P&O Cruises to create the world's first distillery at sea. Yeah. So on their flagship vessel, which was called Iona, we worked with them, put a 50-litre copper pot still on board their vessel, set up gin school experiences, cocktail experiences, etc., all on board as well, developed a bespoke gin for them that they can then distill on board, as well as us distilling it in Salcombe. And that's been an amazing partnership. So we've now got stills on 2 of their boats, on Iona and on Arvia, plus we're stocked across the fleet. We're
That's
reaching
a great
so many
partnership,
people. It's so cool, and it fits with us because we're all about the water. But my background's all sailing and being on the water and our distilleries. That's been so good actually. So
because that would have sounded like mental, wouldn't it? Back when you were talking about that originally, like it would have probably sounded nuts around the table till it happened. Yeah. Like some things do, right? They don't seem like they're likely to, you know. I mean, I get a few here with some of the sales guys. Like,
some of the best ideas, but that's when you first think. Which is why nobody's done it.
Well, it's an experience. You're sort of a captured audience, aren't you? You can't go anywhere really. There's options to do different things, but it's quite an interesting thing to do.
Exactly, it's a lovely pass on for people on the cruise to do it. So it's so that's been fantastic, and I say partnerships as well in general is such a nice part of the business that I love, because there you can take things that you yourself are really interested in, combine that with what the company's doing, and then it makes you more passionate about it still, and it's fun. So again, as you say, my background's sailing, and I've sort of sailed all my life, and one of a main partner of ours is the Royal Ocean Racing Club. So we created a special version of our Start Point gin with them. We've called it our offshore strength version. It's 50% ABV. We didn't quite go up to full Navy strength because the guys avoid that get too messy. So it's gone 50%, and it's outstanding, and it's great. So you know, we've got great presence at their clubhouses. We sponsor one of their regattas. And they're a lovely, prestigious organisation. I mean, they're a fantastic organisation. So that's a lovely partnership. And Angus, my business partner, Angus has always been into a sort of fine food and gastronomy as well.
Yeah.
And so we've had these great partnerships where we've worked with Michelin-Starred chefs. We created a sort of another tier in our gin portfolio called our Voyager series, where once every few years we'll partner with a world famous chef or maybe a famous vineyard and create a bespoke gin with them.
So who's working on these plans and ideas? Where's it fall like to do that? Because there's quite a lot of work involved to keep all these things going.
Yeah. The problem normally is you have too many ideas. It's which ones do you actually do?
And then you've got to keep it up as well, right? You can't just have like a fly-by-night idea and create a product and then go, oh, well, you know, but then not support them the next year, or because these things are consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, so firstly, the ideas, a lot of them come from Gus and myself, but also now the team too, the broader team got great ideas. So there's a bit of a melting pot, and then it's always sort of deciding what we're going to do each year. And then one of the challenges you have is often it's all too easy to want to do the shiny new thing, rather than actually this other thing we've done is great. We should keep doing that more. And, so for this Voyager series gin now we've done. Seven of those, I think, over the last sort of 8-9 years. We've worked with Monica Galletti, Michael Keynes, Niall Keating, Mark Hicks.
Wow. So do you get them stocked easier as well, or they do a limited batch?
Exactly, so they're limited.
So they're higher cost purchase, I'm assuming.
Exactly, so they're
if you're buying something special that's been worked on together,
Exactly, yeah. So they're higher cost and limited number, always limited number batch.
Limited numbers is a great way to do business, because you ultimately you get something special. The end customer gets something special, but also it's a nice project, and it creates like scarcity in the product as well.
It does.
Yeah,
it's good for that, and we love it. Again, it sort of comes back a little bit to the passion and integrity point I mentioned earlier. Particularly for Gus, like Gus loves. He's got so knowledgeable with fine food and flavour, and real advocate. Of going to great restaurants, good quality chefs. So. These projects, he leads on these projects, and he loves it. It's brilliant, and I love it because it's great for the business. And I'm doing more. I'm interested in it as well. I'm not averse to some nice food.
Yeah.
So it's a really lovely thing there. You can sort of weave in things which you really enjoy doing. At the same time, it's beneficial for the business. You get sort of halo effect on the brand. It's original. It's what's not to like.
Yeah. Does your range grow like? Has it grown drastically, or is it still? When you do these limited runs, what's the core range of products that you start? Is it big now, or has it stayed very true to? Because you must get tempted to bring a new bottle out.
Exactly. That's absolutely another. That's absolutely another risk, is that you're always wanting to bring out another product. And I got that, we're always having conversations. Oh, we'd love to do this, that, or the other. And you've got to rein yourself in. So we've actually sort of really tried to not do so much of that now. So we have a core range of, if you like, 3 core gins. One is Start Point, which is our original gin, which is very much just an outstanding classic London dry style of gin. Then we have our Rosé Saint Marie, which is really our response to when all these brightly coloured flavoured gins start coming out. This was our rosé wine-inspired gin. Sounds pretentious. It's a bit more sophisticated. It's a fantastic liquid. And then we have our Four Seas gin, which is really around some more British coastal botanicals. And we have a partnership with the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. Where
I like that. That's nice.
So that's kind of our core ones, plus the Voyager series as well. That's our main gins. And then more recently, I should say more recently, it's been a few years now, we have the rum you mentioned earlier. We have a couple of rums. Quite proud of one of our rums in particular. We make it completely from scratch. We ferment the molasses, we distill it.
Oh, wow.
We cask age it in bourbon casks. And there's a few other people in the UK that do that, but not many. Most people just import and put a label on it. So pretty proud of that. And
I'll have to try some of that.
It's fantastic. It's called Lantern Rock.
I'll have to get some.
It's so good.
That's I think, again, back to that attention to detail
and integrity.
Integrity, trying to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Because you could have just brought out a relabeled rum right easily and then just gone ride that wave. You stock it in the same place as you stock the gin.
Exactly.
It's an easy add-on, and
exactly that's it. So we really wanted to do it properly from scratch. That's been lovely. I mean, that's a tiny part of the business, because one of the things I've learned as well is you try and focus on too many things, you spread yourself too thin. So the rum's great. We make it in small amounts. We sell a bit locally. We don't particularly sell loads, but we're proud of what we do nonetheless. And then the other key one is we have a product range called New London Light, which is our non-alcoholic spirits and aperitifs. And that's been fascinating watching how.
And what's different with that then? Because there's a few variants on that theme that I've tried. I've tried some really good ones actually, where it's an experience drink, rather than an alcoholic drink. Very different, but you can sit there. When I've done my stints of not drinking for a few months or whatever, you can sit there and enjoy it over ice, and it's nice.
That's right.
So is that the aim of that range, is to be that, or what was the reason that you've answered that call? I guess is probably.
So firstly, in the background, the context is there is a continuing sort of trend of people being a little bit more health aware, conscious. There's growing desire in non-alcoholic drinks in general, and alongside that, the industry's kind of responded, and they're much better quality than they used to be. And in fact, part of the reason we launched initially was I didn't think that what was out there was that good.
No,
I thought we could do better. I'd like to think we have done better. There's some other great ones out there as well now, by the way, but back then there wasn't so much. And then what are we trying to do with it? It's about, in its simplest form, it's about, I want people to have the same occasion, the same experience with our non-alcoholic experience as they would with an alcoholic. So when you're in that social occasion, you don't feel any different. You don't feel like the odd one out. You don't feel you're having less of a pleasurable time. You don't feel you're compromising on your flavour sensation. That's absolutely key. But at the same time, you might just have it at home. It might be a weekday, you've got work the next day, you don't want to have an alcoholic drink, you've got a sporting thing coming up. Again, you want to have some really nice, something a little bit special in an evening that's just delicious. So that's if we just want something that's got a really complex maturity of flavour that feels quite adult, that you sort of savour, that will fit into any of these occasions where you might normally drink an alcoholic drink.
And are you removing alcohol from the drink when it's at the process, or is it made specifically with no alcohol?
It's a bit of both. It's super complex.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a biologist or whatever. Is that the right term?
It's not. It doesn't matter.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not, is it? What would you call it? The actual term for mixing drinks? Creating distilling drinks. Is there like a?
Well, that's distilling, really.
Distilling.
So if you're mixing cocktails, it's a mixologist.
Mixologist, yeah.
So
anyway, sorry, I interrupt. It's not biologist, everyone.
So making a non-alcoholic spirit well is extremely hard. I'd say, if anything, harder than making an alcoholic
Right.
one, actually.
And is that why there wasn't a lot on the market that was good?
I think it's two things. I think one because it's hard. Two, because the market's still immature and the sort of technology of people's processes and understanding is it's just improved over the last 5 years. Like, it really has. So for ours, we have a combination of processes. We bought a vacuum still, which we have at our distillery. So it helps distill liquids using a vacuum rather than by heat so much. There's a little bit of heat, but not as much. But then also there'll be other botanical extracts you can use that people have created from other processes. And we have sort of a combination approach whereby for some key botanicals, we'll use a vacuum still. And then for some things, you'll use the flavour you've extracted, leaving the alcohol behind.
Yeah. I've heard of this.
And there's other times where you may actually have it where you have it and then you remove the alcohol afterwards through the vacuum still, and it's the bit that's left that way round, and then you also then blend that with other botanical extracts as well. So
because you want that taste almost still, because it's very obvious, isn't it? Or it was in the past when you'd have a non-alcoholic drink. Now I find it like not as easy to tell really.
Yeah. So
if it's done well, you want to feel like it still maybe has that taste.
Yeah, so it depends on what maybe you mean by that. So what you can't recreate, I don't believe, is the taste of alcohol itself.
Yeah.
But what is important is I call it cut through. I think there needs to be a component of the flavour that's got a bit of an edge. It kind of cuts through that liquid. So
you get that same
you
experience.
You get
like
kind of
still,
an experience, and it causes you to savour. It's not like you're drinking, an orange squash, in which case,
you neck it.
Exactly, that's it. It's got to have something that's got a bit of cut, a bit of an edge to it, and that causes you to enjoy, take your time, savour. And that could be, for one of our non-alcoholic spirits, one of our New London lights is called a G and Sky, and it's a Mediterranean bitter citrus. So you've kind of got this cut through bitter note coming through the back of it, and it's like, oh, it's just good. It's just good, and you just enjoy it. And there's lots of different botanicals in this. There's lots of different components of that flavour profile that you're sort of detecting, rather than something quite one-dimensional that you might have in a normal soft drink. I could talk for a long time about this.
You're really passionate about the flavours, which is obviously comforting to know.
Yeah.
If you're like, it's all right, there's this one, there's that one. So I think we're going to do some filming with you at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really interesting. I'm well excited. I'm going to have to come along and have a look because I've seen bits online, but I'm excited to come and have a look. Because you have this whole experience that you offer, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
And obviously they get to learn, I guess, a lot more about the process whilst making something that I guess they take home at the end, I'm assuming, or taste at least.
Yeah, absolutely. So we it's going to sound like a sales pitch, but just to answer the question, so our guests come and join us for half a day, about 3 hours in the afternoon, or we do a Saturday morning one as well. We start in the cocktail bar. We it's complimentary drinks while they're with us, and we then do a tour of our main distillery. We show them how we make the gin on our proper still. And then we go through to our gin school where we have 10 of those miniature stills, identical to the still Angus and I developed our gin on, first of all. Okay,
same thing.
Exactly the same things. And we have in the gin school, we have over 100 botanicals, some dried, some fresh, of every nature, spice, herb, floral, citrus, you name it. And so then under the guidance of one of our master distillers, our guests design their own gin recipe, and our master distillers, they're really nice people, and B, they're mega knowledgeable now as well. So
they'll steer you.
They'll steer you. Most people make something pretty good, frankly. And so then our guests will then distill a bottle themselves, and they'll create a full size bottle.
Wow.
And then we put a personalised label on that, so they can name the gin whatever they like.
Wow,
people
amazing.
spend about as much time choosing what to call their gin as they do.
Well, that's the bit they're going to show people when they get home, isn't it? So because it's their brand.
It's very similar to a limited edition. That's the ultimate limited edition because it's yours. It's personalised.
It's lovely, yeah.
You've made that, and there's a lot of pride. I mean, do people actually drink their gin, or do they?
Of course they
keep it on
do.
the shelf?
Of course they do.
No, it's a fair question, Luke. some people are reticent about drinking it. A lot of people will drink it. Some are reticent about drinking. So we've solved that problem. So we have the capability now, because everybody, when they does the gin school with us, notes down their complete recipe. Okay, we've got a bespoke sheet, a special lovely sheet we've made where they do that. And so actually we can then, if people want, they can order it on our website. We can recreate their gin school recipe for them.
Oh, that's clever.
So it's quite nice.
That's smart. That is.
It is good. I don't know if it's actually the greatest business sense idea. It's really it's massively labour intensive.
But
to
it's
like,
nice for
to
the
create
client.
Like one or two bottles at a time.
Yeah.
But it is but it's a lovely feature, and it takes away people being wary about finishing their gin. They can drink it. So yeah.
Well, I'm well excited to come and have a look. I've really enjoyed this chat. I could talk to you for another 3 hours at least. Maybe we do it when we do the tasting.
Yeah,
perhaps
sure.
that would be worth it. But yeah, thank you very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Look forward to putting out more content around what you do and what a fascinating story. So thank you for sharing.
Okay. Well, thanks for the opportunity. Cheers, guys. Thanks. Yeah, thank you.